historic Bratonsville, and today we'll be talking about Juneteenth. Juneteenth is an annual holiday that celebrates the emancipation of all enslaved African Americans. Juneteenth has several other names that it's referenced as, including Liberation Day, Emancipation Day, and sometimes it's referred to as the Second Independence Day for African Americans. Juneteenth celebrates when all enslaved African Americans found out that they were going to be free. It was about 2.5 years after the Emancipation Proclamation was signed when Major General Granger arrived in Galveston, Texas to notify them that all enslaved African Americans were to be emancipated, and this would have freed 250,000 enslaved people in Texas alone. By the time Granger had shown up to Texas, President Lincoln had been assassinated, the capital of the Confederacy, which was in Richmond, Virginia, had fallen, and the 13th Amendment to abolish slavery was in the ratification process. The first official Juneteenth celebration took place on June 19, 1866. This is when African Americans in Texas decided to come together and celebrate their progress and freedom since emancipation the previous year. They would sing together, have worship services. Some of them would come together to find lost family members that they had lost during enslavement. And then some of the celebrations that they did then, we still do today during Juneteenth. Most of that would be music and food. And food is very important at a Juneteenth celebration. To start cooking the barbecue, we're going to take our ribs and go ahead and rub it down with a dry rub. So the dry rub I use today has cinnamon, brown sugar, paprika, salt, and pepper. And I'm just going to rub the front and the back of the ribs. The reason I'm choosing to cook pork today is because this is an item that freedmen would have had available to them at the time of the original or first Juneteenth celebration, and pork barbecue is something that you can find at Juneteenth celebrations today because of its roots in African American communities prior to emancipation. Before emancipation, enslaved people were given rations of food, and in those rations, they were usually given the less desirable portions of pork. So pigtails, pig feet, internal organs, things like that, where they would either stew them or, in this case, they would barbecue them. And barbecue actually has roots in indigenous and West African communities, especially the Hausa community of West Africa, or the Hausa people would refer to barbecue in reference of grilling or toasting, or basically cooking a large animal like a fowl or cattle over a fire for an extended period of time, and using herbs and seasonings and spices to cook that meat. So these traditions were carried on through the 18th and 19th centuries when Africans were being enslaved. This was something they held on to, but passed it on to pork. Next, I will take some of the hot coals from the fire. It's very important that if you're going to cook barbecue in this style, that you want to burn enough wood to have nice hot coals to lay under the grate. And this grate is basically like a grill, a 19th century grill that you stick in the ground. So I'll place the coals under the grate, and then I'll place the ribs on top. Now it's going to take a few hours for this to cook, and throughout I'll check on it and flip it over just to make sure it's cooking evenly, and I will add coals throughout the cooking process. So thank you for joining me for another Time Travel Tuesday, and don't forget to come see us this weekend for Living History Saturday with games and cooking in celebration of Juneteenth.